Okay, so this is part 1 of Tools of the Master. Part 2 is Gods of Annihilation, and it's already on the channel. And it doesn't make any sense without the first part, so this is the first part. So, Danny is working at a museum and gets fired on his first day because he was rude to the boss. Oh no. He hides inside the building instead of leaving, and then calls in his friend, Mr. Sussum, played by Mateus. Why are they meeting up here? Because they're CIA agents looking for a serial killer who goes by the name Ice Cube. Ice Cube stays in the shadows for most of this half of the story, but plays a huge role in the second half. Danny and Mr. Sussum find Ice Cube's servant, and they bring him to their boss. The servant tells them that Ice Cube's real name is Georges Lafontaine, so he's French, before being sniped. Danny is given some time off because of his hard work, so he goes to visit his wife Gwen. Meanwhile, the CIA boss interviews some people about Georges Lafontaine, and this one man, Henri, claims that Georges is his son. Henri leaves to find his son because he believes that the CIA are trying to kill Georges, which they are kind of trying to do, and Henri is trying to save his son. So the boss calls Danny back to work, but Danny's busy with Gwen, so he's sad to leave, but he has to leave. As soon as he closes the door when he leaves, Gwen gets sniped, but Danny doesn't see this, so he doesn't know yet. Danny arrives at the CIA base and sees that it's surrounded by helicopters, and the boss tells him that Mr. Sussum is working for Georges Lafontaine and is controlling the helicopters. Danny breaks into the command helicopter and knocks Sussum out. He is then informed that Gwen has died. Out of rage, he's determined to capture Georges Lafontaine, who he believes killed Gwen. Did Georges actually kill Gwen? Nobody knows at this point of the story. Somebody killed Gwen. Danny sends a SWAT team to find Henri, who is the father of Georges, remember? Henri tells them that Georges is probably in a bunker in the middle of the city. So the SWAT team goes to that bunker and finds Georges, and Georges just calmly raises his arms and goes with them. Back at the CIA headquarters, Georges and his father Henri talk about him failing and getting captured, while Danny and the boss watch them from behind a one-way mirror. Georges says,
"I didn't fail, Dad. This was my plan all along." "That's cringe. Go get a wife."
Whacking his father on the head.
"I hate you."
With Danny's gun.
Okay.
Danny chases Georges, but Georges escapes.
Oh my god, we lost him.
What have we done? And Henri is taken to the hospital. That concludes the first half of Tools of the Master, and the second half you can see on the channel. In case you don't understand the second half after watching it, I'm just gonna do a summary of the second half as well. So, spoilers for the second half from this point onward. Okay, so Gods of Annihilation opens with the closing scene of part 1, ending when Georges escapes. The CIA boss tells Danny that he knows a guy named Morgan who used to work for Georges. Morgan spends his time at the Red Sled Bar. Meanwhile, Georges walks along the streets and remembers his family life before he became the serial killer Ice Cube. His father Henri is abusive towards him because Georges is never good enough. Danny meets up with Morgan in the Red Sled Bar and asks him where Georges is going to be next. Morgan says that Georges plans on robbing the Globe Bank, the biggest bank in the world. Danny asks Morgan to help him catch Georges in the act, and Morgan agrees, but only if he can be the one to kill Georges.
"If I can quench my thirst for vengeance against George, I'll take your deal." "Good deal. Pleasure for doing business with you." "Yeah, okay."
The next day at the Globe Bank, the boss enters the building and Morgan attempts to snipe Georges. The sniper malfunctions and Georges enters the bank. Danny tells Morgan to go to Plan B.
Okay, let's go to Plan B.
And Morgan disguises himself and enters. Morgan waits in the elevator for Georges, and the boss waits next to the vault room. Georges knocks the boss unconscious and steals a briefcase from the vault. Georges heads to the elevator where Morgan is waiting. Georges and Morgan fight, but Georges kills Morgan. Outside the bank, Georges walks past Danny, and they fight for the briefcase, but Danny is knocked out. Meanwhile, in a hospital, Georges' dad, Henri, is getting neurosurgery because of how hard Georges whacked his head. Henri wakes up and asks the neurosurgeons where Georges is.
Where is my son? I don't know who your son is!
And Henri escapes to find Georges. Danny and the boss wake up in Georges' bunker, where the SWAT team found him in part 1. Danny secretly asks for Georges' trial to be tomorrow. Georges enters the bunker and explains that the briefcase is a bomb and it will explode tomorrow at the trial. Mr. Sussum enters the room, apparently still working for Georges, and apologizes to Danny because Mr. Sussum was the one who murdered Danny's wife, Gwen. A SWAT team breaks into the house and takes Georges, Danny, and the boss. The next day at the courthouse for Georges' trial, the judge, played by Gavin, is about to proclaim Georges guilty when the briefcase bomb explodes.
Holy, it's a bomb!
Georges escapes in the confusion, and Danny tracks him throughout the city. Danny finds Georges on a beach, where Georges explains how he was always trying to impress his father, but after seeing that everyone in the city is evil, he decided to make Mr. Sussum nuke the city.
Well, in a few minutes, Mr. Sussum will nuke the city. Then all evil people will be gone.
In an opera house, Mr. Sussum launches the nukes, but regrets it. He tries to deactivate them, but Georges' father Henri appears and attacks him. They fight, both killing each other, and Mr. Sussum presses deactivate as he dies. Danny shoots Georges in the head and is killed by the tidal wave that was generated by the nukes falling into the water. 1 week later, the boss walks through the city and sees Danny. He's alive, but the world thinks he's dead. The end.